And stay down there! Hi, it's me, Cam, the GM for Live from Dice Jail. Now I know we said that on the second Thursday of every month, you'd be receiving an episode of Jacob's Cooking Show. Unfortunately, Jacob was not able to make that happen this month. So, instead, we're fast-tracking another project that we've been thinking about, which I'm tangentially calling Drinking Imillon, where while Jacob focuses on the food aspects of our games, I will instead be focusing on the drinkable aspects of our games, such as regular old beverages and possibly, in the future, even equivalents of potions. Might be fun. Now, of course, the only real unique beverage that has been described so far in our Soul of Frost campaign would be Frostcoffee. Not really coffee, more of a coffee substitute. It's actually a vegetable closer to a sweet potato that, when cut up into little beans, dried out, and ground up, acts as a caffeinated bitter beverage that the people of Salter use as a coffee substitute, since they don't want to pay to import coffee all the time. Now, I'm no botanist, so unfortunately I can't create a whole new fantasy vegetable. What I can do, however, is create something that tastes kind of similar. So what we're trying to make today is not an actual vegetable. We're instead going to be making a Frostcoffee ground. Frostcoffee grounds, Frostcoffee powder, if you will, which is going to turn out something a little bit like this right here. I'm going to stop moving it around so Colby can actually zoom in on it in post. Now, what is in this powder here? You might be wondering. Well, now I'm glad you asked, I'll tell you. Primarily, sweet potatoes. Now you might be thinking to yourself, reasonably enough, Cam, what? And to that I say, yes. If you're wondering where I got this crazy idea from, I will put a link in the description of this video to a video by the awesome channel Tasting History, which talks about real life use of sweet potatoes as a coffee substitute during the American Civil War. It's quite the interesting video, and I highly recommend checking it out, but that's not what this one's about. Sweet potatoes. That's the prime ingredient. I'm going to be using about 2 of them. That'll create a batch around this size. Obviously, multiply if you want more. I don't need a whole lot more because I'm just one me. Other ingredients you will need: unsweetened baking cocoa or cocoa powder. You're gonna need ground turmeric, and you're gonna need, probably the hardest of all of these ingredients to procure, you're gonna need instant black tea powder. So sweet potatoes are the base, obviously. Cocoa powder and turmeric, bittering agents. And the black tea powder. This will not only provide nice bitter flavor, and it's somewhat neutral because it's basically, from what I understand, just freeze-dried and ground up black tea. This will provide a different flavor because Frostcoffee doesn't really taste like coffee. It is a bitter beverage that is caffeinated and used as a substitute. So this will provide you the caffeine and a little bit more bitter flavor. So the first step, and easily the most time-consuming one, is to turn your sweet potatoes to powder. Let's get to it.
Now your first step is going to be shredding your potato into ribbons like this. Now you can, if you don't want to, just take a vegetable peeler at them, which I totally don't blame you for, then you're perfectly welcome to just cut them into little pieces. I've done that during one of my test runs of this recipe, and it works fine. It takes around the same amount of time to be able to get them all dried out, but you definitely get a more consistent result with these strips like this.
These kind of look like carrots. Nice.
And then when you have the core there, you're gonna wanna take a box grater, I've got a tiny one there, and you're gonna wanna shred it that way.
if you're like me and your hand is getting real tired, you can just get a little lazy with it and use the knife. Voila! Baking sheet and throw some parchment paper across it. And then you just spread them all around in as even a layer as you can. You're not gonna be able to get just one flat layer, and that's fine. Just get it as flat and even as you can and throw it in the oven at 200 degrees. And after around an hour, it'll look like this. Every hour or so, you're gonna wanna take them out, flip them around, and then put them back in. So here they are, all done. Nice and crispy, crunchy, look at that. So that's that. And now, we turn them to dust. Well, if you've got a food processor or a coffee grinder, that's probably better for this task. I don't have either of those, so we're going with a fucking blend. Look at that. All right, now you get your powder, and you get a bowl. Powder in the bowl. This will probably go much better if you have a coffee grinder or a food processor. Like I said before, unfortunately I have neither of those things, so here we are. Next up on the docket, you gotta add the remainder of our ingredients here. So, what you're gonna want is 1 tablespoon, approximately, of your baking cocoa, 2 tablespoons approximately of your instant tea powder, 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric, which just so happens to be exactly how much is in this packet. You then want to take a whisk and whisk it all up into one homogeneous mixture.
Now, of course, you can add things like salt and other seasonings if you want, but since we're just going for the base result of something here, we're gonna just jar it up at this point.
And I'm actually gonna use a funnel for that because I do not want to spill. And yet I'm managing to spill anyways. And there you have it. Ta-da! So, it only took me a little over 6 hours to put together my lovely little fresh batch of Frostcoffee powder. Now, you might be wondering, how does one make a cup of Frostcoffee? Well, you got a couple options. Option number 1, you could just throw it in your coffee machine. If you have a Keurig coffee grounds pod, you can do that. That would definitely make sure to clean it as soon as you can because the sweet potato will rehydrate and gum that up. You can also, I would imagine, use a regular drip coffee maker. I don't have one of those, so I can't test it out myself. However, the method that I will be using today is treating it like tea. I happen to have this really nice tea mug with a tea strainer in it. So what we're gonna do here is heat up some water, make ourselves a cup of Frostcoffee at 9:40 at night. Yeah! All right, so let's make ourselves a cup here. First and foremost, you're gonna need the actual cup with the strainer. And then you're gonna wanna do, I would recommend 2 tablespoons or so for a solid cup. And then you just pour your hot water over it. And we're gonna let it steep for a couple of minutes. All right, I'd say we're probably about done with this. Take our lid off, and it appears that a lot less water got through than anticipated. However, that is okay. Look at that. Looks just like real coffee, doesn't it? Kind of wild. Let's give it a taste. All right, so now we have our lovely little cup of Frostcoffee here, ready to give it a try. Definitely got some bitterness to it. Turmeric gives it a little bit of a weird kick, weird flavor to it, which is, it's different. It's not like some crazy thing. It's not like totally alien. It honestly mostly does taste like tea. A little bit of chocolate in there. And that turmeric kick, which is nice. Sweet potato does a little bit, not as much as you might expect, but yeah, if you were to dress this up with some cream and sugar, it'd be delicious. Like a regular cup of coffee. All right, I'm gonna keep drinking that because it's 10 p.m. and I have more to do, because you might be wondering to yourself, now Cam, why did you bother putting your new batch in a separate jar? Why didn't you just combine them if they're the same thing? Great bloody question. And the answer is that it's vodka time.
So to make your Frostcoffee vodka, it's gonna be simple as all get out. First step, take your Frostcoffee powder. Right here, what you've got is about half a cup of Frostcoffee powder. And you then want to take your lovely Everclear 190, 95% vodka. You can use regular vodka if you want. I'm using Everclear because A, I hate myself, and B, Everclear is really good at infusions and does them quickly. So, we're now going to take our Everclear and fill that baby up. Look at that. We're gonna slap that lid back on and give it a quick shake to get it all mixed up in there. And now we wait for another hour or so while that gives itself a little infusion. Alright, infusion is as done as I want it to be because it is 1 in the morning and yeah, I know technically you're supposed to let Everclear infuse for like a week or whatever, but like, this isn't limoncello. This is just infused vodka. There's not much that it's gonna get out of this process that it hasn't already gotten. So you can see a little bit if you look closely, the colors are starting to separate. So we've got a fresh jar here. All right, and for anyone who's thinking, oh, he's just gonna drink that right now, clearly you're unfamiliar with Everclear 190 because Everclear 190 is 95% grain alcohol. 95% alcohol. That is the highest possible percentage that you can get alcohol, because if you go higher, it just absorbs water from the air. You cannot go higher than 95% alcohol. And we have before us a significant amount of 95% alcohol. Let's see, let's read some numbers here. I can't read those numbers, but that's a lot. So I need to dilute that stuff right there. I'm gonna do that with some water. All right, so we have approximately 1 cup of our alcohol here. So we're gonna wanna dilute it around halfway. So I'm gonna try to get up to 2 cups, around 8 ounces of our spring water here. A little extra won't hurt. Actually, it'll probably be better for my liver in the long run. There we go. And it is now down to normal, around normal drinking strength. So, at this point, it's basically done. Just got to transfer it to its final resting place. And well, for good measure, let's actually give it another strain, just in case there's more solids in there. I've gotten as much into this jar as I physically can. Ta and da. This, my friends, is our final infused Frostcoffee vodka. Well, I guess let's drink it now. It is 1 in the morning. I repeat, 1 in the morning. Here we are, their finished product. Let's see. Smells like Everclear. Give it a little taste. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. I didn't put my apron on, did I? Well, that's fine. Like I said, 1 in the morning. So the last thing we're gonna do tonight is make Bastion's Frostcoffee vodka soda. So we're gonna make our vodka soda here. Step 1, get your glass. We're gonna go with a lovely, lovely Collins glass. We have our little measure. We have our filter. And I've got my ice off to the side, and of course we've got our Frostcoffee vodka. Here you go, you get that in the measure. Just gonna pour it all in. And a trick that I learned, for those of you who don't know, I used to work at a bar. A trick that I learned from one of the other bartenders there is to always mix your things with soda before you put your ice in. Ooh, look at that foam. And no garnish because I don't have one. And voila! Alright, so we got our drink here. Nice and ready. Let's give it a try. It smells lovely, actually. It's not bad. Yeah, the turmeric's really coming through, I think. Yeah, that's interesting. Nice, fun, simple. Not necessarily how I would choose to drink this, because definitely a little heavy, but not bad, not bad. Well, that's all I've got. Thank you so much for learning how to make Frostcoffee stuff with me today. And if you enjoyed, let me know. And maybe we'll separate this from Jacob's Cooking Show. Make it properly its own independent thing. Who knows? And hey, if you head on over to buymeacoffee.com/live from Dice Jail, I'll teach you how to make a fully unique cocktail with our Frostcoffee vodka. Alright, take care and have a good evening.